Hey everyone. So I am doing my presentation on Salvadorian culture. Back when we did our interview process with somebody from a different culture than us, I interviewed my best friend who is El Salvadorian. So I wanted to further follow up and do my PowerPoint presentation on Salvadorian culture as well. My name is Georgia Jackson. On the next slide, we are going to see some of the presentation content. So I have a little bit about the introduction of the culture, history, the flag, languages, religions, holiday celebrations, traditional clothing for both women and men, traditional foods, sports, as long as music. So let's get into a bit of the introduction of the culture, just so we can get a little background on that. So again, the culture being presented is El Salvadorian culture, which is in Central America. It is bordered by Guatemala, Honduras, and the Pacific Ocean, and is actually the smallest country in Central America. The population was last estimated to be around 6 million people residing there, and family is something that is very big and number one in this culture. There's many traditions passed down through very many generations. It's a blend of indigenous and Spanish influences, mainly being Pipil and Lenca. Next, we have something about the history. I wanted to share this because actually in my interview with Brianna, she had shared this being a very big event. So El Salvador experienced a civil war from 1980 to 1992, which is one of the longest and deadliest conflicts in Central America. The war caused widespread violence and had a great effect on many families. My friend shared how this had a very great effect on her family, as far as like her grandmother. And then lower education levels were included from this war, as well as job opportunities for people also went away as well. The flag, I thought the flag was actually very cool because each horizontal stripe had like something that it like represented. So as you can see, it has three stripes, it has blue, white, blue. The top one actually represents the sky in the Pacific Ocean. And then the middle one represents peace and unity. And then the last one represents harmony and hope. And I thought that was just really cool because like you would just see this maybe thinking, oh, it's just a blue, white, blue flag. But no, each line actually represents something. So I thought that was really cool. And this flag was adopted in 1912. Languages, as far as languages, there wasn't many different languages that were spoken in this culture. Spanish is the most widely spoken language in El Salvador. English can be heard at times, especially like in tourism when people are visiting and businesses. Some indigenous languages like Nawa are still spoken by small groups, but it is a very small population that still speak that language. So mainly Spanish is heard. As far as religion, they are also just like languages, it's really only one religion followed, and that is Christianity. Celebrations such as religious traditions and holidays are extremely important in Salvadorian culture. As you can see in this picture, I think community gets really brought together in these times. Semana Santana is what they call Holy Week in El Salvador. And in this week, along with Christmas, it's widely celebrated throughout the community. And you can really see the community get brought together through these times. And I really love how religion and holidays just brings everybody together. So I really liked seeing that. And now we're going to get into some of the holiday celebrations. As you can see from this picture, the community really comes together during holidays. And I think that's just a beautiful thing. And I feel like here I don't see that a lot. So I think it was really cool to kind of like just read up on them. So the holiday celebrations in El Salvador have a blend of Christian beliefs as well as indigenous traditions. Major celebrations include Independence Day, which was celebrated on September 15th, and Fiesta Agustinas, which is an August festival celebrated mostly in the beginning of August. There's like fireworks, there's music, there's people like dressed up. Later, we'll get into kind of like traditional clothing, and that's why you'll kind of see why certain people are wearing certain things. Each of these holiday celebrations include some kind of big event bringing the communities together, and it has a strong expression of pride in their culture as well as their home. So it was something that they took to their heart because this was them showing how much they love their culture, they love their family, they love who they are. And I just think that is super beautiful. Traditional clothing. So we're going to start off with women. I thought that she was a very good representation of how I described women's clothing. It seemed to be worn like their traditional clothing more during celebrations and festivals. Women, as you can see to the left, wear certain things such as skirts with like bright designs, embroidered blouses, dresses that are like colorful and have like floral design. And then also as well as like hair accessories, as you can see, she has a very pretty pink bow at the top, and at the bottom of her hair, she has a pink ribbon. So they have more of a vibrant expression of how they dress compared to men who were more simple, I would say. As you can see in the next picture, still very nice, but they're more simple than women how they dressed. Men were often seen just to wear things like mostly like straw hats and red scarves, and their clothing was way more just very simple, not much color. It was normally, as you can see, this man is just wearing a white shirt, white bottoms. That's mostly what men would wear, either short sleeve that was white or a long sleeve. Sandals were actually a huge part of their apparel as well. I am sad this picture got cut off, but he is wearing sandals. They're leather sandals. And so as it says, men's clothing is often way simpler than women's clothing, but still very nice. Traditional foods. This was fun to learn about, I think, because I'm a big foodie. So back in February, as I had said, we did an interview. I did it with my friend Brianna, who is El Salvadorian, and she shared some amazing foods that were indigenous to her culture. These are both the pictures that I put for the food. So pupusas are a staple in El Salvador, and she shared how it's a dish she loves when her mother or grandmother makes because it is like a nostalgic food for her. Anytime she eats it or she has it, it just makes her think of like when she was younger. And I think that's like just really beautiful how like eating foods can make you think of like certain times like that. So at the top is pupusas. And then at the corner was a new dish I had never heard about, yuca frita, which in translation is like a root vegetable that has like a soft texture on the inside. And that made me very curious because I've had pupusas before, but I've never had that. So I really would like to try that because I like trying new foods. So I thought that was really cool. Now we're gonna go into the sports. I'm a big sports person, so I thought, why not look into their sports? So soccer is one of the most popular sports in El Salvador. The national team for the culture is known as LA Selecta. El Salvador has participated actually in the FIFA World Cup both in 1970 and 1982. It was a long time ago, but that's still a big representation to be playing in the FIFA World Cup. And they also have a professional league called the Primera Division. And this is a picture. This is a picture that I could find. It was really hard to find a specific picture, but I did end up getting one. So this is like their team. I thought that was super cool. I think soccer is a very fun sport. So I thought that was super cool. And music, because I love music. I really like this picture. I actually got this from a source that I used to help me like do more research on their music. And I thought it was really beautiful because I feel like music is another thing in cultures that really brings people together. So according to the faith in resistance and resilience in revolutionary songs of Civil War, music in El Salvador is a cultural expression that reflects social experience, identity, and its history. So it's like their music wasn't just music. It had like a story, it had emotion, it had like a background. It wasn't just like they were singing just to sing. During their Civil War, the Salvadorians used protest songs like Don Tito to express resilience, political resistance, and their trauma. So music can be shown to really have helped the communities unite and cope with one another. And I thought that's beautiful because I think a lot of us listen to music to help us with our mental and things that we have that were going on, like struggles, whatever it may be. I feel like music can really be a good representation of like coming together, like positivity, uniting, expressing yourself. So I thought that was just really beautiful. And I really like this picture of people coming together, listening to music. And the end is just some of my resources that I got some of this research based off of. And yeah, that is my presentation, everybody. Thank you.